But before we do that, I want to set the scene here a little bit. So Russ was benched, remember, with under 4 minutes to play in Wednesday's loss to the Pacers. And Westbrook was 5 of 17 from the field when Frank Vogel pulled him from the game. And it wasn't just poor shooting that got Russ removed. It was a lack of effort on defense. And after being pulled, Westbrook eventually left the court with 8.4 seconds on the clock. And then he didn't speak to reporters afterwards. But as mentioned, he spoke to Woj last night. So Woj, what did he tell you specifically about the benching?
Well, he was surprised by it. He was disappointed by it. He wasn't happy with it, but he accepted it. And that Frank Vogel made a decision, and he's ready to move on from it. And listen, he understands, Russell Westbrook, that he has got to figure out, along with the Lakers, about how he's going to play with this team. And I think for him, he believes he has really worked with the organization, with Vogel, about how to find a fit. And I think for him, I think he knows people expect that they might hear a defiant Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook who's going to say, I'm going to do it my way. That's not what he's doing. He understands that for him, his fourth team in 4 years, it is taking time for him to figure out how he fits. And I think more than anything, he's hoping for patience from people, that they'll get Anthony Davis back, that he'll get more time on the court with LeBron James and AD, and that they're going to find a pathway here to some success.
Well, and folks just saw at home that full screen of exactly what Russell Westbrook said to Adrian Wojnarowski, which was in part that he was surprised, like you mentioned, not necessarily just disappointed, but disappointed more in the loss that he had. But Perk, we heard Richard's giggles. What's your reaction to how Russell Westbrook handled this benching?
He's going to handle it like a true professional. But here's the thing. The word patience is just not going to happen. You're in Los Angeles. It's pressure. That's the word that starts with the letter P that he has to realize. And he knew that coming into this. Here's the thing. Forget me being the analyst right now. I'm looking at Russ as my brother. I had dinner with his mom and dad 2 nights ago. And right now, my dog seems a little broken. I don't see the same swagger. I don't see the same intensity. When you listen to him in his post-game interviews, it's just not the same. I don't see the same aggression. It's something not right. It's something for his mentality. I don't know if it's all the way there in basketball or is he focusing on other things in life, because it comes a point of time as an NBA player that basketball don't mean everything to you. And I'm not saying it as a bad way, but you start to have a transition in life. And when I hear Russ talk now, and when I hear him say things like it's more to life than just basketball, that's not the same Russ that I know that used to have this killer mentality, that wanted to go out there and play with passion, play every minute, every second. And right now, I just feel like my brother is broken and he need to get his swagger back. And the way to get it right for him is for all the guys, the coaches, the players to rally around him in the locker room and uplift him at this moment. And then you could get his swagger back.
Well, and there was just so much that was in this interview with Adrian Wojnarowski. One of the things he talked about was accepting his role. But another thing that he mentioned, we've talked a lot about this on the show with you this week in your reporting, Woj, is Frank Vogel. So Russell Westbrook's relationship with Frank Vogel, did he touch on that at all?
Well, what he's talked about is what Frank Vogel has asked of him, he said, has changed, evolved as personnel has evolved on the court, just like a lot of teams. They've had players in and out. AD's been out with an injury, COVID. And so, Russell Westbrook's focus is on trying to work with Vogel, the coaching staff, to figure it out. And listen, he's drawing on the fact that he had to do that last year in Washington. You saw a team that played much better in the second half. In Houston, they played much better late in that season, and he had an injury in the bubble that might have derailed them. They were playing well. He was playing well there, and that he's going to figure it out, that history tells him that he is. And I think with Frank Vogel, and I think for Westbrook, it's he understands he's going to be judged on winning with the Lakers, and that's how you are judged in L.A., not about stats, and it's not about numbers. And listen, I think he understands. I think it's very clear to him that he's got to find a way to complement LeBron James, AD. And I think for him, getting AD back on the floor, getting the three of them there together, and hopefully AD's back by the end of the month, they can really start speeding up that process.
Richard, what are you seeing from the way Frank Vogel is coaching Russell Westbrook and their relationship there?
Well, I think he's trying to figure it out. And Russ, he was talking about he didn't really understand it, but, he supports. And cooperation was it for comprehend. You don't have to comprehend something in order to cooperate. Excuse me. And so my point is, just because he doesn't understand doesn't mean he's not going to cooperate. And so Woj says he's doing every single thing that the Lakers are asking of him. The only issue is that every single thing that the Lakers are trying. I remember at the beginning of the season, they were playing Rondo and him. And then they were like, okay, no, that's not going to work. And then they completely stopped playing Rondo. A lot of it was because of the injuries. But I think right now, when I look at Russell, I think to Perk's point, he is a person that's trying to figure it out. And he is an elite superstar in this league. He is a former MVP that is on his fourth team in 4 years, and the first 40 games have not gone well. But for anybody to question Frank Vogel for sitting someone the last 4 minutes that was 5 for 17, and he's done that, let's see, he's probably had 10, 12 games like that. And so for Frank to be like, okay, listen, just sit for the next 5 minutes. Let's see if we can figure this out. Let's see if we can do it. That's what you need to do. Frank is judged by winning. It's not just by coaching Russell and how his relationship is with Russell. His job is to coach the entire team and to coach the Lakers.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.